सो दोस्तों आज की क्लास इन योगा की है दिस इन योगा ब्लिस, तो इसमें ज्वाइन कीजिएगा प्लीज़।
Alright you guys, so let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to Yin Bliss. We're going to get started on our backs and do this right with supported bridge pose. So come on to your back. You thought I was kidding, huh? So come on to your back, grab your shins, pull your knees into your belly for a moment. Just hug it in.
So let's do Yin Yoga Bliss.
And then set the feet flat on the floor, about the width of the hips. Lift your hips up. Grab your block, and then slide your block right underneath your lower back. And if you're practicing and you're doing the supported bridge for the first time, make sure that the block is situated right there at the sacrum so that it's properly placed so you feel well supported. And also know that you always have three options with the block, so you can go with option 1, the flattest, option 2, a little bit higher, or option number 3, which is pretty rare that you would want to do that. That's usually too intense. So usually option 1 or option 2 is the way to go. And then the idea is that the block is there to support you. It's there to hold you. And for many of us practicing, we have the responsibility in our lives to support other people. Whether that's a family member, friend, co-workers, our company that we might work for, a team that maybe we play on. So in the way that we have that responsibility to support others, we also want to make sure that we take time to allow ourselves to be supported and to be held. It's a saying by the Ojibwe Indians that said, "Sometimes I go pitying myself, all the while I'm being carried by the great wind across the sky." And it can be easy for our mind to dwell within the negativity of things and to revert to negative programming like complaining and comparing and competing and seeing what's missing within our lives, and we forget this great miracle of what it is to be in this body and to be experiencing this human life. And that there really is no greater miracle than the miracle of you. So this Yin Bliss practice is really inspired by the great philosopher and author Joseph Campbell, who coined that phrase that we probably all heard, "Follow your bliss." And when he he spoke about bliss, he wasn't talking about the type of bliss that you get when you want to go eat a pint of ice cream or drink a 12-pack of beer. He was talking about more of a spiritual kind of a bliss. The bliss that you get when you live on the edge of life. The bliss that you get when you challenge yourself. The bliss that you get when you grow. The bliss that you get when you contribute to other people. But also within that energy of bliss is wisdom. Because both bliss and wisdom come from the heart. And the yogis believe that the heart is really the source of all that we are. So within this practice, more than any of the other practices and flexibility beyond, allow yourself to really follow your bliss. Follow what feels good, what feels right. And for 1 hour, just allowing yourself to kick back, to let go, to allow this gentle current of your Yin Yoga practice to just carry your body as if your body was a life raft. Slowly, tenderly, being pulled downstream. Moments as we prepare to move on from this position, see if you can bring whatever it is that you just dropped with you into the next pose and into the rest of the class, the practice, and the sequence. From here, come up onto the tips of the toes, lift the heels, lift the hips, and then just slide that block off to the side. Release the lower back softly down onto the mat. And then grab your shins and pull your knees back into your belly. And then we'll cross the right leg over top the left leg. And we'll extend the right arm out to the right. We'll place the left hand on the outer right knee or thigh. And we'll come into a wrap leg, reclining twist. Just enjoying that stretch across the lower back, the lower spine, also the outer right hip area. And then just make sure that your knees come all the way over to the left, either onto the floor or a yoga block. Just let gravity do its thing, let gravity take over. Now, a lot of times when we search for bliss or happiness, we look outside of ourselves. Taoists and the great ancient wisdom traditions, they teach us that it already exists within us. And we see that within nature. We see that within a type of deer called the musk deer. The day that it's born, it smells this scent that it's attracted to. And it spends its whole entire life searching for the source and the essence of that scent. Journeying through the mountains, across the fields. And one day it comes to the end of its life, never ever having found the source of that scent. And little did it know, the whole entire time the scent was coming from right underneath its nose. So in the same way that we may search for happiness within external materialistic objects or people, that what we really seek is already seeking us. The moment that we close the eyes and look within and quiet down the mind and go within, and we can tap into a level of bliss that never goes away. It's not just a temporary type of bliss, but a bliss and a happiness that sustains forever. Go ahead and bring your knees all the way back up to neutral. Unwrap the legs. Grab the shins, pull the knees and thighs into the belly. Slide your hands down your legs, catch the outer edges of the feet, and then lift the soles of your feet up towards the ceiling. Now if you're practicing with us at home, if that feels too intense, to grab the outer edges of the feet, and to open the knees out a little bit wider than the ribs, another option that you could do is you could actually take your hands and you could reach around and grab the backs of the calves. So I'm going to have Ryan here, who's actually our composer. So the music that you're listening to in the background is coming from this gentleman right here. So this is a modification of grabbing the backs of those legs. Sometimes it feels too intense to grab those outer edges of the feet. So know that that's always an option. And then here in stirrup pose, just allowing you to access the fascia and the connective tissues down in the hips. Before we come out of this one, feel free to gently rock side to side to massage into your back muscles. Just allowing the floor and your mat to be your massage therapist, just massaging into the musculature along your back. Good, and then we'll bring the knees back together to the belly. And we'll set up for the wrap leg twist on the other side. So as you're ready, go ahead and cross the left leg over top the right leg. Extend the left arm out to the left. You might even want to shift your hips a little to the left. And then with the right hand on the outer left knee, just take both knees all the way over to the right side of your yoga mat. Imagining that your left shoulder blade is like a paperweight. And that paperweight's heavily drawing and anchoring down to the ground to create that traction effect in that lower back. Those knees draping over towards the right. Massaging into the kidneys. In Chinese medicine, the kidneys are said to be the storehouse of Yin, which is your life essence. And the more that you conserve and preserve that Yin, the greater longevity of life that you'll have. The more that you burn yourself out and burn that Yin up, the shorter the lifespan becomes. So this is something that we really want to treat preciously and sacredly. Of course, this whole program is about bringing us back into a true state of balance, to balance out the yang with the yin, the activity with the rest, the strength with the flexibility, doing with the being. And there's no greater feeling than that feeling of balance. When you're strong and supple within your body, you're strong and calm inside of your mind, you're balanced and open within your heart. Walking path of your highest purpose. Nice and easily, go ahead and bring your knees all the way back up to neutral. Unwrap the legs, grab the shins, draw your knees and thighs into your belly. And then we'll begin to rock forward and backward, creating some momentum to rock all the way up to seated. And then from seated, we'll come into tabletop pose for a moment. From tabletop pose, we're going to come into what we call melting heart pose. So melting heart, you'll extend your hands and your arms out in front of you. And then you'll just allow your forehead and your chest to draw down towards the ground. In some styles of yoga, they call it puppy dog pose. It's kind of like child's pose, but your hips are drawing up. And really, you're creating more of a positive pressure and therefore stimulation in your spine and the thoracic spine. So melting heart is if you're just allowing your heart to melt down towards the ground. last several breaths there. Slow, deep, smooth, and blissful breaths. Nice, you guys. From here, begin to shift all the way up to all fours, tabletop position. And then slide your knees back behind your hips to a modified plank or modified push-up position. And then just take an inhale there in your modified plank. And then exhale, go ahead and lower slowly all the way down onto your belly. And then bring your hands underneath your forehead, stacking your hands on top of each other. Turn your chin to the right, towards your right shoulder, so you relax the left side of your face right on top of your hands as if your hand was a pillow. Coming into what we call resting belly pose. I love this pose because it's so simple. And it's also so incredibly sweet and blissful. And I know for myself, sometimes I'll be in this position that seems so restful. And if I take a close look, if I scan my attention and my awareness through the landscape of my body, I'll actually find places where I'm gripping and holding on. So we have these places within our body where maybe unconsciously we're holding on to tension, we're holding on to stress. Once we become aware of that, then we can let that go, let that stubborn, subconscious tension and gripping subside. So that right now, every single muscle fiber in your body, it softens. The importance of that is how it moves us into the parasympathetic branch of the autonomic nervous system. Moves us away from fight, flight, stress, to the branch of our nervous system that repairs and renews and heals and replenishes. So although you're not moving your body, creating muscle tone and muscle strength, you're not burning fat or any of that stuff, this is just as important. Your body actually becomes stronger in a state of rest. So here we are in the midst of this flexibility and beyond program, 8 weeks, practicing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sundays. And maybe on the days that we're not meeting for this program, you're exercising, and that's great. You're hitting it hard. And then you come in here, turn on the video, you do these practices, and this is the time to allow your body the opportunity to replenish. And then maybe tomorrow, you You go back, you go do your trail run, you go lift your weights, you go do whatever your favorite form of fitness or athletics and exercise is. And because you hit the yin hard, you'll be able to hit the yang hard. The yin feeds the yang, and the yang feeds the yin. So now's the time to honor the yin and to honor the parasympathetic branch of that nervous system. And once you find an equal balance between the two, then you find your optimal state of health and wellness. This is the golden ticket. As you're ready, go ahead and shift your chin to the other side, resting the right side of your face on top of that hand pillow. Some of you even look like you are falling asleep, taking a little nap. And if that happens, what a beautiful thing. You might shift from a waking state to a sleep state, or you may be in that dimension between waking and sleeping, that what we call lokantara, the dimension between two worlds. Everybody, from here, gently lift your head up, slide your hands back by your ribs, and push your way all the way up to tabletop pose, all fours position. Did you fall asleep, Michael? A little bit. Go ahead, crawl the knees forward towards the top of the mat. Cross the feet behind you, release down onto those sit bones. Extend the left leg straight out in front of you. We'll probably have people at home that fall asleep and they wake up at the end of the video and they're like, what happened? What did I miss? Good. From here, lift your right foot up and place your right ankle on top of your left knee, left thigh. And then bend your left foot to go underneath your right knee, right thigh to what we call fire log pose. And I know what some of you are thinking. Travis, this is a blissful class. Why the hell are we doing this pose? It doesn't feel that blissful. But remember, the type of bliss that we're honoring is the bliss that knows how to meet a growing edge. So feel free to modify the pose, come into seated, cross-legged style. Make it soft as you need to. Sit up on a block if you want.
Instead of this pose.
And then reach those arms all the way up to the sky, inhale. And then fold over and down on the exhale. So what happens when we do something challenging or a little bit difficult, and we we don't run away from it, but we actually breathe through it and we move into that growing edge gracefully, is that nature rewards us. And it does that by secreting a hormone or a chemical called dopamine. And dopamine is a chemical that feels very, very blissful. Scientists sometimes label it as the I accomplished something chemical. So we can look at that energy of bliss in a deeper, deeper kind of a way. Those of you that are practicing with us at home, you know, if you were to look at the video right now, and hopefully you're not, hopefully you're in your own little world, but if for whatever reason you are looking and you're looking at these guys, and you know, they are incredibly still because they're advanced practitioners in this style of yin yoga. And maybe that's not your experience, you know, maybe you're fidgeting around a little bit, maybe your practice doesn't look like their practice, and that's okay. It's okay to honor where you are right now, and that you don't have to compare yourself to what these guys are doing. So again, trust your practice and trust your process. And although we do want to minimize unnecessary movement, if it happens, no big deal. Here's a practice and a technique that you can try out. You get that first impulse where you want to move your body. You want to maybe scratch an itch, or you want to fidget, or you want to adjust something. And the first time you get that impulse, try not to act on it. And then if it comes up a second time, same thing. Try and be non-reactive. What happens if you don't satiate the itch or the impulse? It might go away. But if it comes up a third time, then feel free to move the body. Feel free to make the adjustment. Feel free to scratch the itch, whatever you need to do. So try that technique of waiting till the third time that the stimulus comes at you. Take a last few breaths there. All right, you guys, as you're ready, slowly transition out of that one. Coming all the way back up, and then extend your legs back out in front of you when you're ready, just letting the blood rush down through your knees. knees down into your feet, your ankles. And then let's shake the legs out a little bit. It's a little shake, a little shimmying, just to move the chi around. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So keeping the right leg out in front of you, grab the left foot, lift it up, place it on top of that right knee, right thigh, bend the right foot underneath the left knee, left thigh. And use your props if you like, modify if you like. Ready, reach the arms all the way up, inhale, and then fold and hinge all the way over and down till your hips say, hey, that's enough. It's perfect. There was a samurai that climbed a great big mountain. And when the samurai finally reached the summit of the mountain, he found at the very, very top a temple. And as he got to the entry point to the temple, in the corner of the temple, he saw a monk quietly meditating in the corner. The big samurai loudly and obnoxiously stomped all the way across the temple floor and shouted out at the monk, "Little monk, teach me about heaven and hell." And the monk opened up his eyes, he looked at the samurai, and he said, "Who are you, a disgrace of the samurai class, to awaken me out of my meditation? Who do you think you are?" And the samurai, in an instant of rage, grabbed the sword and unsheathed it. And just as he was about to behead the monk looked at him with the eyes of compassion and said, "This is hell." And the samurai realized in that moment that the monk had put his life on the line to teach him about what hell really is. The reactive, angry, irritable mind. So the big samurai put the sword back into its sheath. He dropped his knee. He bowed down to the monk in a gesture of reverence and humility and gratitude. And then the monk looked at the samurai and he said, "This is heaven." So heaven and hell isn't a place that we go to. It's a place that exists within our own minds. And we can encounter and meet any situation in life with a reactive mind and a negative heart. Or we can meet and encounter any situation calm mind and an open heart that carries the great qualities of benevolence. And so much of that has to do with really our perception. As they say, two men looking through jail bars, one sees the mud, the other sees the stars. What kind of person are you? Are you the person that sees the mud? Or are you the person that sees the stars? Maybe this pose is challenging and difficult. And you can turn that to an opportunity to grow, to deepen, to awaken. You have to have the willingness to discover what the challenge has to teach you. Staying with your breath, slowly ease your way all the way back up. those legs out in front of you along the mat. Come down onto your back. Recline. Come into reclining butterfly. So bottoms of the feet together. Toes forward. Knees out. And let's place one hand on the belly. One hand right on top of the heart. Do a little bit of yoga breathing together. So anytime we work with the breath, we shape the breath, we also shape the mind. So please breathe with me. Take a deep inhale through the nose, fill your lungs up. And out the mouth, exhale, just let it all go. And then let's begin. Inhale through the nose for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath in. Exhale out the nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Last cycle. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Take a deep inhale through your nose. Fill your lungs up. Side out the mouth. Exhale. Let it go. Beautiful. Just allow your breath to find its natural rhythm. Take a moment to be in the after effects of what you just did. If your mind becomes subtle and refined enough, you'll notice that everything that you do has an echo to it. Every thought, every word, and every action. From here, take your left hand, just set it onto your inner left thigh. Keep your left leg where it is, and bring your right leg into that stirrup position, just like you did at the beginning. So left leg's like in a butterfly, and right leg's in a stirrup position. So a little hybrid, outer left hip wrapping down. If you feel any discomfort in your left hip, you can always place a block underneath that outer left hip for support. And then you grab that outer edge of that right foot gently. You're just drawing your right thigh down, sinking back into that hip, and breathing into where you feel the stretch taking place. last little tug. Softly release your right foot back down to reclining butterfly. Sole of the right foot reunites with the sole of your left foot for a moment. Feel the echo of that. Nice. And then place the right hand on the inner right thigh. And then reach down, grab the outer edge of your left foot. Lift the sole of your left foot up. So left leg looks like stirrup pose. Right leg now looks like the butterfly pose. Every time you show up, every time you do one of these practices of flexibility and beyond, again, you're just taking a little retreat. Great. Marcus Aurelius says, people look for retreats for themselves in the country, by the coast, or in the hills, when it is possible for you to retreat into yourself anytime you want. There is nowhere that a person can find a more peaceful and trouble-free retreat than in his own mind. So constantly give yourself this retreat and renew yourself. Days a week for a total of 8 weeks. We take that retreat and we keep renewing and renewing. And when we emerge at the end of this program, we're not the same person that we were when we started. Ultimately, the more that you give back to yourself, the more that you'll be able to give to others. Give that left eye one last little tug. Softly relax, left leg back down, reclining butterfly. Once again, one hand on belly, one hand on top of the heart. Moment to feel the bliss, the presence that exists right now in this moment, this breath, and in this pose. Everything that I could ever want, I already actually have right here, right now. So effortlessly, so easily, go ahead and slide your way into the corpse pose, just extending your legs out towards straight. Allowing both arms to radiate out equidistantly from your spine. Same way that we began the practice, that supported bridge. Now just allow the earth bear witness. yourself like a stone sinking deep towards the bottom of a lake, to sink deep to the very depths of you. As the poet Kabir writes, in the cave of the heart, joy reigns ever. Music swells without an instrument. Feel yourself drop deep to that inner music of still. Shavasana. nice and easy. Feel yourself coming back into this space, back onto this mat, and back into this body. Come back into this body, maybe allowing a little warm, subtle, authentic smile to arise on your face. Subtle smile of bliss. Just take a deep inhale through the nose, out the mouth, exhale, let it go. Reach your hands forward, grab your shins, pull your knees and thighs into your belly. And then nice and easily rock and roll yourself all the way up to a last final comfortable cross-legged seated position. As you get up to seated, just bring both hands to prayer position in front of the heart. Just taking a moment to take your seat right now halfway between heaven and earth. Slightly bow the forehead down, just honoring your body, honoring your practice, and honoring the unbearable beauty of this life. Flexible and supple in your body, be strong and calm in your
Thank you very much for this practice session. I hope कि आपने इसको एंजॉय किया होगा और इसकी प्लीज़ प्रैक्टिस कीजिए. आवाज़ की सब प्रैक्टिस है. पोज में अपने सामने परफॉर्म कर रहा था. जितना इसको प्रैक्टिस करते जाएंगे उतना आप कुछ सीखते जाएंगे. वेल, इंशाल्लाह नेक्स्ट वीडियो में मुलाकात होगी जो पावर योगा का सेशन होगा जो शाम तकरीबन कोई 5 बजे के करीब होगा इंशाल्लाह. 5 o'clock. So take care. Allah Hafiz.